sure that many of us here can remember what it was like in high school. We would be stuck in school for 7 hours of the day, 7 days of the week, and we would hardly get a break. That's why we would always look forward to lunch. Lunch was our time to eat and relax and enjoy the company of our friends without having to think about school. As stated by Crystal Ayers' article, 19 Primary Pros and Cons to Open Campus Lunch. The downside, we were still stuck on school campuses and were not allowed to step outside, and if we did, there were major consequences. This made us feel like prisoners, and like our one bit of freedom during the day was not really freedom at all. Not to mention, if you forgot, didn't have time, or simply never packed your lunch, you were stuck eating cafeteria food, something many of us wouldn't ever wish on our worst enemy. I think schools should allow students to leave the school premises during lunch breaks because it allows the students to be independent, have better, healthier meal options, and will be great benefit for the school. Something that schools and parents want their upper class students to be is independent. They don't want to babysit them, and they want them to be prepared for college, living on their own, and taking on adult responsibilities. Of course, letting them be independent is something that requires trust. Trust that they can handle being responsible. Leaving the school campuses and coming back on time without breaking any rules is a major way to establish this trust. It allows the students to have the opportunity to prove themselves to both parents and teachers that they can be independent and that they deserve this kind of freedom. In an article titled Free-Range Lunch Period Schools Open Campus Policy Vary by Diane Marslick, she notes that in one school, most children follow the rules and are on time for class. Those who don't lose the privilege of leaving. Basically what she's saying is that it offers a positive incentive for the students because they understand that when rules are broken and they miss class, their privileges will be revoked. Another reason students everywhere should have the freedom to leave is because it allows them to have the freedom in choosing what food goes into their bodies. Joseph Axe quotes Jim Montesano, a New Jersey superintendent, in his article, Should Schools Let Students Leave Campuses During Lunch? He says that the seniors who choose to leave campuses are able to take responsibility for their actions, which includes their eating habits and eating healthfully. Some students who have dietary restrictions can't afford to forget to bring their own lunch from home because schools don't offer enough choices or any choices for their specific dietary needs. Allowing the students to leave would allow them to go home where they know that their dietary needs will be met and they won't be forced to eat just an apple from the cafeteria. For the students who maybe woke up late and didn't have time to pack their lunch before school and aren't used to eating the cafeteria food, would rather pick off of their friends' food to eat or eat nothing at all. This affects their schoolwork, productivity, and their performance. Maybe you just had a bad day and you need to pick me up, or you just want to treat yourself. Not only the students would have the freedom to leave the school, but also have the freedom to decide what food they consume. In the article, The Pros and Cons of Off-Campus Lunch, written by Amanda Major, she explains that at some schools, students are allowed to leave during lunch if they have a parent's consent form, which will get them a pass from the school that would allow them to leave, and they must have the pass present with them. This is a great way for the school to make money. Tons of students would buy these school passes at almost any cost, whether it's quarterly, monthly, or even weekly. Not only that, but if there are local restaurants or food trucks that were near to the school, they would support those local businesses and help the community, especially since the newest trend is supporting small local businesses and consuming local foods as opposed to large corporate businesses and manufactured processed food. It's a win-win-win-win. If you're thinking it's risky and unsafe to allow students to have a true break from school, there are different ways you can offer this type of freedom, with incentives, consequences, parental permission, passes, or even just allowing upperclassmen only. If every student were offered to leave the school premises during lunch, it would boost their independence, allow them to have more and better choices for food than cafeteria food, and would benefit the school and community in a major way. I would be willing to bet that many of you in high school were not allowed to leave during your lunch break. I would also be willing to bet that many of you did anyways. So why not finally allow students to have the true break they deserve?